Episode 3 The Great Departure. Welcome back to The Princess Left Behind. I'm Sita Brand, your guide through the untold story of Princess Yashodhara. In our previous episode, Yashodhara gave birth to their son Rahula, a name meaning fetter, and watched as Siddhartha stared at her with that strange torn expression as if already halfway gone from this world. In the months that followed, Yashodhara watched her husband closely. While he performed his royal duties and was an attentive father to baby Rahula, something essential was withdrawing. She would catch him staring at nothing or everything with eyes that seemed to look through the world rather than at it. One evening, as they walked the palace gardens with Rahula sleeping in her arms, the clouds parted to reveal a full moon. Siddhartha, you're here beside me, yet somewhere else entirely. Where do you go in these silences? He turned to her, his eyes focusing properly for the first time in days. Do you ever wonder why we suffer? Why even in this paradise, surrounded by every comfort, there remains this ache? Of course I wonder. But I've come to believe that's simply the price of being alive. The sunrise is beautiful precisely because it cannot last. But what if there's a way beyond this cycle? A truth that liberates us from both pleasure and pain. Yashodhara shifted Rahula in her arms, feeling the warm weight of her son. And would this truth require abandoning those who love you? The question hung between them. She saw the answer in his eyes before he looked away. Then came the fateful chariot ride. Siddhartha insisted on seeing the kingdom he would someday rule. King Yashodhara reluctantly permitted it, carefully orchestrated to show only prosperity. Yet somehow, by fate or divine intervention, Siddhartha encountered precisely what his father had tried to hide. An old man bent with age, a sick man racked with fever, a corpse being carried to cremation, and finally a wandering ascetic, serene in his renunciation. He returned transformed. Silent through the evening meal, Yashodhara found him staring into the garden, lost in thought. What troubles you so? I saw the truth today. Age, sickness, death, they await us all. Yet I also saw a holy man who seemed at peace despite having nothing. Yes, we age, we sicken, we die. This is the natural course of life. But her practical wisdom couldn't penetrate his obsession. Yashodhara knew these realities intimately. All women did. But Siddhartha's sheltered life had kept these truths at bay until now. There must be a way, a path beyond suffering. The meaning is in the living itself, in these moments between us, in our son's laughter. That night, Yashodhara found him beside Rahula's cradle, gazing at their sleeping child with devastating finality. She knew their time together was running thin as morning mist. That full moon night, she made one last desperate attempt to anchor him. She orchestrated everything perfectly. His favorite foods, skilled musicians, dancers, moving like dreams in moonlight. She wore the blue silk he loved, jasmine flowers in her hair. Tell me, husband, if you could be anything other than a prince, what would you choose? He looked at her with such tenderness it nearly broke her heart. one who has found the truth. That night, they made love with an intensity that felt like goodbye. Every touch carried the weight of something ending. Later, as he slept, Yashodhara remained awake, memorizing his face in the moonlight. If these were their final hours, she would not waste them in sleep. Midnight. The palace slept. Even Yashodhara, despite her resolve, had surrendered to exhaustion. Siddhartha rose carefully from their bed, his movements deliberate, as if he had rehearsed this moment 1,000 times. He moved first to Rahula's cradle, bending to look one last time at his son's sleeping face. His hand hovered above the child's head, not quite touching, afraid perhaps that contact would weaken his resolve. Then he turned to Yashodhara. For one breath, his fingers traced the air above her cheek, not quite making contact. May you understand someday what I cannot explain now. He dressed simply, discarding his royal garments like shed skin, the jewels, the gold, all the abandoned on the chamber floor. Outside, his charioteer Channa waited with Kantaka, the royal white horse. The hour of the great departure had arrived. Dawn broke with unusual silence. Yashodhara opened her eyes to emptiness beside her. Her hand reached out, finding only lingering warmth where Siddhartha had lain. Siddhartha? She sat up slowly. There on the floor lay his princely clothes, his jewels scattered like forgotten stars. Before the shock could fully register, the palace erupted into chaos. "The prince has gone! Search the city!" "Find him! Bring back my son now!" called King Shuddhodana. But Yashodhara did not join the frantic search. She stood motionless at the window, staring at the distant forest that had swallowed her husband. Her fingers closed around the necklace he had given her on their wedding day. "You have left me to find your truth, but who will help me find mine?" Little Rahula's cries pierced her reverie. As guards frantically searched and King Shuddhodana raged against fate, Yashodhara turned to her son, her husband's last gift and final burden. She lifted him from the cradle, holding him tight against the hollow in her chest where certainty once lived. "Shh, little one. Your father has gone to seek the answer to suffering, and we will learn what it means to be left behind." What does abandonment in the name of spiritual truth mean to those abandoned? What path remains for the one who stays? As Siddhartha ventured into the forest to become the Buddha, Yashodhara faced her own journey through grief towards an unexpected awakening. Join me next time as we follow the princess ascetic, a woman transforming abandonment into her own profound spiritual path.